A lot of allegations there from Carson. Let's take them one at a time. First of all, you know, their report came out a week ago, and they have not relented since. You guys have hit back hard, but still, he is saying that 90% of your revenue is fake. How do you respond to that?
Well, first, thanks for having me on, and it's you know, we're here transparently, you know, addressing the situation and these false allegations again. You know, let's take a step back for a second. Let's take a look at his allegation that 90% of the revenues are false. That would mean that our products don't exist, our customers don't exist, our channels don't exist, our partners don't exist. And let's just take a step back and break down the business. You know, let's look at the second quarter of this year. 20% of our revenues came from our enterprise business. And you know, some of the largest companies in Greater China are our customers. What do we do for those customers? We provide mobility management services. We help mobilize their workforce. Companies like Anbang Insurance, partners like GE Healthcare. That business is absolutely real. The revenues that we generate from that channel is real. Let's look at our gaming business. We publish games and operate games on behalf of some of the largest gaming developers in Greater China, as an example. Tencent. Perfect World. We publish those applications and operate those applications on app stores like iTunes. And we collect those revenues through those channels. And those are absolutely real. And if you take a look at, as an example, our security business, we partner with operators, OEMs, distributors, retailers. Our products are reviewed out there in the marketplace. Our products are available. They've been vetted. And the revenues we generate from them are absolutely real. I think the biggest issue here is...
Omar, we've called some of these people that you say are your partners. We've spoken with ZTE, Huawei, China Mobile. None of them will comment on what their relationship is with you. So how can we know for sure that you actually have a relationship and that that relationship is meaningful?
Well, absolutely. I mean, normally large companies have a policy of not commenting, but you can actually go and validate the preloads. You can go and actually buy those phones in the marketplace. You can go and open them up, and you can basically audit for yourself whether those applications are preloaded on those devices. It's very easy and extremely easy to validate.
Who are your top 3 customers? Name 1, 2, and 3 for me.
So our customers include, so let's take a step back. Our customers include customers like China Mobile as an example. But let's take a step back for a second. We're confusing service providers and customers, right? Service providers, if you take a step back and you try to really understand what they're saying, is service providers are intermediaries when it comes to billing. So it's companies like Zong, which is a division of PayPal here in the U.S. If I'm an application developer, right, and I have an application that I want to develop and post out onto the internet or onto an app store, in order for me generally to be able to add that to a carrier bill and be able to charge a customer a subscription or charge that customer for a red sword or a green sword or a virtual good that I want to buy into a game, I have to go through many times a service provider to add that item to the bill. And so what we do is we go through those service providers. Yidatong, Zong, those are our service providers that allow us access to the carrier bill. They're actually not customers. And we actually identify that
so who
in our reporting.
Let's not confuse it then. Let's not confuse it then. Who are your top 3 customers, not service providers?
So our customers are end users, right? And our channels and our customers include partners like China Mobile. We don't actually disclose customer by customer who are our top 3 customers.
Why don't you disclose it, especially when there's so many questions now about whether your customers are actually really customers?
Oh, I mean, it's common policy for companies not to comment on their customers. Our customers don't want us commenting on their revenues. Our channel partners don't want us commenting on their behalf. Remember, we're a channel-friendly company. Our customers don't want us commenting on their business either, right? Because for us to disclose their revenue streams is not something that we would normally do. We protect those relationships with our customers.
But you have to admit that it sounds a little bit suspicious. If you're not willing to tell us who your customers are, how are we supposed to believe that you actually have customers? I mean, you guys are in an incredibly critical situation now. Yes, the stock rebounded a little bit, but it's still down more than 40% since this report came out. Investors, a lot of investors still don't believe you.
No, and we actually do disclose our partnerships. We disclose our customers, our customer list. We just don't go down by revenue basis and go through that, because that's, I mean, obviously confidential. Our customers don't want us disclosing that either. We're very close to our customers, and they don't want us disclosing that. But you can go through whether it's a Huawei, whether it's a ZTE, whether it's a China Mobile, whether it's a U.S. Cellular, whether it's a TCC, whether it's a Cricket. All of these are customers. They're announced and validated relationships. You can actually go off into their stores, into their you know, whether it's their digital channels or physical channels, and validate these products are available. And that's what's so laughable about this situation, is all of this is so easy to validate. If you go into the App Store and you look at these customers and you look at the applications that they provide or publish, it's extremely easy to validate. And so that's why,
I mean, Omar?
obviously.
How about this? Let's put it this way. Within China, where does NQ have the most users? What cities, what provinces in China, where do you have the most users? Give us some statistics. Yeah, I mean, we've actually gone through the top 5 provinces, you know, including Hunan, and I can't actually remember them off the top of my head, but actually, we actually published those earlier this week in a report, and we actually named the top 5 provinces where our customers are at, and we'll be happy to provide that list to you. I honestly just didn't bring it with me, but we've actually provided it publicly. It's publicly available, the top 5 provinces where we have our customers, and that's something we've responded to, and we have no issue with opening that up. It was actually already available in the marketplace. Now, let's talk about the revenue. Obviously, you know, we heard Muddy Waters saying that 90% of your revenue is fake. You guys have formed an independent committee. You are transferring money to Standard Chartered to prove that you have at least $100 million in the bank. The revenue is coming in chunks, though. You know, I guess you have about $54 million transferred so far. Another $13 million went in today. Why is it coming in chunks? Why isn't it coming all at once?
Well, we hold our money in term deposits, right? So they earn interest. We're doing it smartly. I mean, we are a company that is not going to make irresponsible decisions from a capital allocation perspective. So we're transferring them as, you know, from a term deposit perspective, as they make sense from a capital management perspective.
And Muddy Waters says that these term deposits are, quote unquote, he said, likely forgeries. How do you respond to that?
I mean, that's already been put to bed, right? We've already provided, we've already moved the money, much of it. It's actually been validated by independent parties. That's one of the things that, if you actually go, it's laughable, obviously. We've actually opened up to third-party independent audit. We've had multiple banks go in and validate it. We've actually had large investors go in and validate it. We've actually provided complete transparency around the cash, and actually that's been put to bed. He didn't even mention it today as an example. So we keep responding to these same allegations. We've been nothing but transparent. We're proud of the business that we've built. For us, it's business as usual. We announced an amazing new product at NQ Live last week that we're taking to market and building the pipeline for. For us, we need to get back to building the customer base that we're building, building the channel partnerships that we're building, and work with the partners and customers that will drive the future of our company.
So let's go back to this Yidadong, this company that Muddy Waters says, you know, they found difficulty proving that this company actually exists. They went to 10 different addresses for this company. 5 of those addresses didn't even exist. There was no evidence of this company at any of the other addresses. They say that you're playing the shell game here, that you're trying to recover from quote-unquote massive lies that you've already told. How do you respond to that?
I mean, it's again funny because we were never asked by them for any addresses. We actually last week on Friday morning held a conference call where we actually gave out the address of Yidadong, where they're located. First of all, I want to thank Ms. Rong Shu for cooperating with all the people who have visited her office, including Bloomberg, by the way. You know, she's an entrepreneur, a successful one. We thank her for her support. You know, she's co-located 2 of her companies, 9HCom and Yidadong. She's a successful entrepreneur. No issue there. I mean, we have no problem people visiting. She's been nice enough to allow people to visit and do the diligence that they've needed to do. And we've actually had several people, including Bloomberg, visit her and sit with her and talk with her.
Can we talk about the product quickly? You know, I know you're a product guy. You came from Samsung Mobile. You know, there are claims that you send customer information to your servers in China in plain text. Wouldn't that be a huge security risk for a mobile security company?
Yeah, I mean, and we went through piece of information by information in terms of what we collect, where it stays. It was completely false allegations around that. We take privacy extremely seriously. We've been certified by Trustee, which is a privacy certification, third-party privacy certification. We take customer privacy extremely seriously. We work with our carrier partners on that. So no, our products, and by the way, our products are very broad. They include security products. They include family protection products. They include games. They include MDM and mobile device management software. But absolutely not. We've provided all the technical documentation on that in our responses. It's been validated by third parties like AV-Test and others. And so no issues there. We have no problem with providing that validation, and we've already opened that up.
Now, Omar, obviously these are incredibly bold claims, and unfortunately Chinese companies have a history of fraudulent activity. Muddy Waters has exposed some of them. Sino-Forest, another Chinese company that they exposed, is now, I believe, bankrupt. I lived in China for a long time. I'm familiar with some of these issues. What can Chinese companies do to make their finances and their businesses more believable? I mean, Carson just said a few minutes ago that you guys are going to be delisted within a year.
No, it's, I mean, absolutely absurd. I think it's the part of becoming any multinational company. There's a tremendous amount. This is one of the things I'm really excited about. Why did I come to NQ, right? I mean, there's a tremendous amount of innovation happening in China. And NQ is a multinational global company. And that's one of the things we're very proud of. We do business in markets all around the world. And I think the fact that we follow U.S. GAAP from an accounting perspective, we work with one of the most reputable, if not the most reputable accounting firm in the world in PwC, and follow the procedures and be extremely transparent. We just hold ourselves to a higher bar, frankly. And I think you've seen our responses in the last week after these false and malicious allegations. We did nothing but completely open up and be very transparent, open up to investors. We've opened up to third-party validation. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to not only follow the most strict of accounting standards, so we are very, very conservative how we approach things. We recognize net revenue and not gross revenue, as an example. We hold a significant amount of deferred revenue on our balance sheet because we sell products that have long-term subscriptions, as an example. And as you become a multinational and work with the largest providers all around the world, they do their homework on you. We're one of the most diligent companies in the world. And,
now, Omar, you were brought in from Samsung, from Citigroup to build NQ's U.S. presence. Muddy Waters has suggested that maybe you didn't know some of the stuff that was going on there. Can you tell us if, when you were brought in, when you took a look at the books and you saw how the company operated from the inside, was it 100% squeaky clean? There was nothing that you saw that concerned you or worried you?
I'm extremely comfortable. You know why I'm comfortable is because I understand the business. I spent 14 years before coming here in the telecom industry with carriers, with OEMs, with operators, with billing service providers. I know the industry inside and out. Right? I know how it works. I know application development. I know how billing is done. I know how we collect revenue. And so the business model is extremely important for people to understand. Frankly speaking, I've been part of the evolution of the company for the last 2 years in terms of expanding into gaming and advertising, expanding into enterprise mobility management services. That's been a part of the expansion, also the global expansion with our carrier customers and our partners and retail partners all around the world. You can walk into locations in the U.S., including TCC, and others, and find our products on the shelves. And so, for me, I'm extremely proud of what we've done. And actually, Henry and I like to say we're building this company for the next 100 years, and we're innovating at a pace that is breakneck, frankly speaking.
And on that note, Omar, you mentioned your co-CEO. He recently reportedly said that revenues for NQ Mobile could hit $188 million in 2013, $500 million in 2015. Can you confirm those numbers for us?
Yeah, I mean, we've shared our 1-2-5 plan last year at our Analyst and Investor Day, and that's one of the things that I think companies that come from outside of the U.S. have to do is open themselves up from a strategy and product perspective. Our 1-2-5 strategy was that we would hit a $200 million run rate this year, which we've done. which we forecasted that we would do in the the third quarter, and we did. We've already pre-announced our revenues were above our range of 50 to 51 million, and we have said that we would hit our $500 million run rate over the next several years. So absolutely, the business growth, I mean, if you just look at the products that we've announced just in the last 3 months and the partnerships that we've announced, whether it be Music Radar or whether it be NQ Care, where we're launching this handset protection insurance bundle with security in China, those businesses have massive potential over the next 3 to 5 years from a growth perspective.